Welcome to South of Left Field. My name is Jimmy, and yes, I'm coming out here a day late. I usually try to put a video out on Wednesdays, but been a little under the weather and just couldn't muster it up yesterday, so I'm going to be doing this today. Happy Thursday. What I want to do is kind of pick up with a bit of a theme from my last video where I talked about using our educational system as a way to help try to train out some of the racism that we have in America today. And I've been giving a lot of thought to the educational system and to the poor job it does of teaching us anything about our history. Now, if we were taught the beautiful and the ugly sides of our history, things that America as a people have done to its own citizens and to others, it would help us shape a somewhat more realistic view. And shaping the view of the citizens of the country shapes the country. Now, I know that the big motto now is, make America great or keep America great. Well, okay, I don't consider America great. We are not number one in very much of anything. We really are doing an extremely poor job educating our people. We don't take care of our health in this country. We don't assure ready access to education, such as it is in this country. There are many areas where we fall short, where our society is, in my personal opinion, weaker and poorly developed compared to many of the other countries in the world today. It will probably come as a surprise to a lot of people to know that, I'll give you a little bit of an example here, Adolf Hitler. He actually admired America in their treatment of the Native American population. His idea of conquering and enslaving the Slavic peoples in the East and the European end of Russia that he wanted to annex, he didn't see any problem with killing millions of people, just plowing them under, because after all, America did it. And you could argue in some way that other colonial powers, England especially, the United Kingdom, Belgium was one of the colonial powers, France, they did an awful lot of killing in the territories that they controlled. They went into other people's lands and they took the lands and they exploited the lands. And if the people bothered them in any way, they killed them casually and in large numbers. We need to know this history, because until we understand this history, we'll always be crippled in trying to understand those survivors of these peoples that live in our country today, that are citizens alongside of us, that, this history they know better than we do. And it helps to shape how they think and how they feel. If we want to improve conditions here in the United States of America, if we wanted America actually to be a great country, then we need to begin with the educational system. There's no question about it. We have to shape a thorough, better understanding of our own history, and then add to that other histories from other countries. Understand that America is not the pinnacle. America is far from a pinnacle. Yeah, America's big. It's got a lot of nuclear bombs. It's got a powerful military. But you know what? There's not really very much else to be proud of outside of that. And being proud of a military is kind of a mixed bag. Our military is powerful. It gets a lot of practice because it's killing people all over the world. That's a heck of a legacy to be leaving behind. We don't learn from our history. I think it was Mark Twain said, history seldom repeats, but it often rhymes. Afghanistan kind of rhymes with Iraq. Failures. Yeah, we went in there militarily and we showed them what was what. And then after that, we completely fell on our faces. We haven't been able to help the people that we hurt at all. And even when we try, we still fall flat on our faces because we don't know how. We don't know what we're doing. because we don't know anything but America. And that's a pretty poor model when you're looking at the diversity and the history of the rest of the world. There is so much about the world and the peoples that live in this world. They have reason to be proud. The technological achievements of the Chinese people makes Europe look like a stumbling little kid lost in the dark. I mean, among other things, they developed mass-produced crossbows that outranged, outshot, and outperformed anything Europe ever produced. And they did it 1,000 years before Europe got theirs. Printing presses, the establishment of a civil service, paper money, credit, so many things, and so many technical things. Some of the buildings that they put up have withstood powerful earthquakes in a way that, shoot, man, the Western world wouldn't know how to go about it. And only just now probably begins to understand the achievements of the Chinese in the past. So, yeah, America, if all we're looking to do is keep America great, which means keep America where it's standing right now, then we're has-beens. I mean, we're also rans. We really don't have anything to offer the world. We don't even want to cooperate with them anymore. We got a leader now, you say something that he doesn't like, he'll just walk off in a huff, take his bat and ball and go home. Nah, nah, nah. And a large part of our population supports this kind of behavior. And I believe that's so because a large part of our population doesn't understand or even care to know anything about the rest of the world. I said history rhymes. Okay, yeah, we fell on our faces in Iraq and Afghanistan. You know what? Reminds me a lot of South Vietnam. So we fell all over our faces down there. We didn't do too good a job in South Korea either. Because the best we ended up with was a stalemate and a war that hasn't been signed away in a peace treaty to this day. And it reminds me of the Philippines, too. I've read some books on what American troops did in the Philippines. We were horrible people. We are horrible people today. We need to be educated. We need to begin from the foundation of understanding things good and bad that we've done as a people. And we need to accept that that's happened and try our best not to do it again. That's the only way it's going to change. Racism won't go away if we're going to just sit around and say, pass a law and call it a day. You have to catch people early. You have to catch people young. You have to teach them when they're young. Because teaching old people like me is a slow, hard business. And, well, it's a little late in my life to make much of an impact. From south of left field, man, it's tough sometimes. When I stop looking at the game, start looking at the history, that gets pretty tough too. We're not going to succeed in being one of the great nations in history if we don't start paying more attention to the truth of who we are and how we got to where we are. And start paying attention to what other peoples in other countries are doing, how they're going about their daily lives, how they're conducting their business, how they're organizing their police forces, how they're organizing their government, how they provide for the security, education, and strength of their peoples. I mean, we are a fractured, fragmented, grasping, clumsy society. Our handling of this pandemic has just been horrific. There's people today, all the time, still say, oh, it's no worse than the flu. Believe me, there hasn't been a flu in a long time. It's killed as many people as this one already has, and this isn't over yet. Don't forget the 1918 influenza pandemic. The first pass of that virus wasn't all that terribly bad. It didn't last all that long. But that virus came back around for a second show, and that second act killed off tens of millions. We're not out of the woods yet. Yes, I know. They're working on a vaccine, and maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. But that's just me digressing. So let me get back to my point. My point is we need to take a look at our education. We need to take a look at ourselves as a people. We need to learn our own history. Because we are not going to be able to rise above ourselves. If we have an America made up of a population that's poorly educated, if we have an America made up of a population that hadn't got any better sense than to cheer the leader of their country acting like a spoiled brat and insulting the leaders of other countries casually and repeatedly, we're not going to be that successful. America was only successful during the world wars because America got out and tried to cooperate with other countries, something that we don't seem to be doing much of today. As a matter of fact, we don't seem to be doing any of it. And in case you think America is all that, I'm going to leave you out here with a couple of tidbits. Number one, in the First World War, we came in as Johnny-come-latelys. Yeah, we whooped up a few million soldiers, and we went out there and we fought a couple of little bitty battles. All we did was show up at the 11th hour and put just enough weight on the scale to tip it over to an Allied victory. And it cost us practically nothing. America wasn't all that in the First World War. We just waited till everybody else had beat themselves bloody, and then we halfway put out an effort. Now, in the Second World War, we got involved a little bit earlier after the Japanese jumped us, and we put a lot of effort into the fight against the Japanese. And a lot of people like to think about, yeah, we showed Hitler, we took him down. You need to go take a little history course. From 1941, when Germany invaded the Soviet Union, the Soviet Union never faced less than 75% of the entire strength of the Wehrmacht. The leftovers and the ragbags were what we and the British fought. Yeah, America's big, America's bad. We landed in 44. It took us a year and a half to cross France, putting all that effort into it. As battles go, D-Day wasn't very big. You want to talk about big? Look at the Battle of Kursk. Because that battle involved more troops than our whole army had over an area the size of Texas. And that was just one battle that the Germans fought against the Soviet Union. So if you want to put us up against the rest of the world, even in our glory days in the Second World War, I mean, yeah, we were respectable, but we weren't all that. So, from south of left field, hopefully I've left you a little ruffled and outraged. It's kind of the idea. We need to learn. Anyway, thank you for listening. I hope you'll like. I hope you'll consider subscribing. And if you want to really give some people something to get their blood boiling, send this to a few folks that seem to think America's the greatest thing that says sliced bread. I'll sit back and make toast. Till next time.